Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Beyond the Sewing Room, and today I'm going to share with you 5 tips for starting sewing your own clothes. Now these might not be what you'd first expect, but they will be really helpful. Now this video is going to be the first in a series on making your own clothes that I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be sharing with you a number of videos that show you the basics in future, but this one is going to get you started with getting in the right mindset for how to go about that. So tip number 1, I'm going to dive straight in, is not what you'd expect. So it's don't start with a pattern. So first of all, when you're making your own clothes, you might be tempted to go out, buy some expensive fabric, an expensive pattern, go all in, get confused and then get stuck. Please don't do that. So what you want to do is you want to take one of your old clothes, so that could be something that you wear ideally. So something that was going to go to the charity shop or in the rag bag or something that you were going to throw out, but it fits you. You know it fits you, you know you'll wear it. You're going to take this item of old clothing, you're going to take a pair of scissors, sharp pair of scissors. If you have an unpicker, great. If you don't, please get one. And then you're going to carefully take it apart. Now, you don't want this item of clothing to be something really complicated when you first start out. You want it to be something that you know that you can have a go at from the get-go. So what you want to do is you want to choose something like a t-shirt or a simple sweatshirt, or maybe a little strappy top, but it's got to be something quite basic to begin with. You're going to take this item of clothing, carefully take it apart and lay out all the pieces. Now your next step is you want to make sure that you know what kind of fabric it is. So have a little feel of it. Has it got some stretch? Is it very stretchy? Just a little bit? Is it woven? Try and familiarise yourself with what kind of fabric it is. Now that you've done that, you can go out and buy yourself some fabric. Even take a piece with you if you need to, and the people in the fabric shop will help you. So you need to go to an actual fabric shop to do this, unless you're certain that it's a jersey t-shirt, and then you can maybe have a look online. Get yourself some fabric that you like. Now I do stress this, a fabric that you like. Not the most expensive fabric in the shop and not the cheapest either, but something that you'll like and you'll know that you'll wear it. You want to make sure that this is going to be an item that you will wear. Then you're going to carefully reconstruct that item. That is step number 1. So take apart your old clothes, deconstruct, study them, and make sure that you've got the materials to recreate that item. That is the first step. Please don't dive straight in with a pattern, because you may well be disappointed and end up spending a lot of money and then giving up straight away. Now tip number 2 is to make what you'll wear. Now this sounds really obvious, I know, but really make what you'll wear. So sometimes we have an idea in our head that we would like to look a certain way. You may have seen like famous people, or you may have seen somebody out and about and want to emulate their style. Will you wear it? Is it suitable for your lifestyle? Is it suitable for what you'll be doing? Your job? Are you at home? Do you go out to work? If so, what kind of work do you do? You need to think about this before you start making clothes. If you make something and you won't wear it, that is going to discourage you. So you want to make sure that the items that you make are items that you'll wear and that you'll wear often. Now this will give you the confidence and the courage to make more. It'll also give you value out of what you're wearing, and then you'll want to go on and create more and more of your own handmade wardrobe. So if you mainly wear jeans and t-shirts, then yes, this is something to aim for, but don't start with the jeans, start with the tops. Make yourself a good range of tops to start with that you will wear regularly with maybe your store-bought jeans. Then you can progress to a pair of jeans. Now, again, as I said before, it is good to get an idea of how things go together before diving in and buying a pattern. So if you mainly wear jeans and that is something that you really want to be making, get yourself a pair of charity shop jeans if you haven't got a pair that you're willing to take apart. Make sure that you try them on and they fit you. It doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter if they have got holes in. It doesn't matter if they are not a kind of denim that you'd wear. Try them on, and if they fit you around the body and the bottom and they're inexpensive, I would suggest buying this pair of charity shop jeans and then getting them and taking them carefully apart. You don't have to undo all the top stitching at the sides or all the details at this point. You just want to take apart the legs so you can have a look at them. The best way to learn is by taking things apart and getting an idea of how they went together, and also what kind of shape they are, what kind of shape fits you. Just get a good look at that. You want the main parts to begin with, so you want the legs and the waistband. Don't worry about the details for now. If you have got a pair of jeans that fit you really well, then great, but you maybe don't want to take them apart at this moment in time. Further down the line, if they become old and ratty and you're not going to turn them into shorts or something else that you'll wear and they're going out the door, maybe think about keeping them and taking them apart, and they can be your future pattern for your best pair of jeans. Just something to bear in mind. But do make what you wear, be it dresses, jackets, blazers, anything that you wear regularly. These are the items that you need to be learning how to make. So that's tip number 2. Now, number 3 is be your own teacher. Now, I wouldn't recommend, and some people might really dislike me saying this, but I wouldn't recommend going on a really expensive sewing course. I just wouldn't. The best way to learn is to do it. So, you want to go watch videos. So, I'm not just saying watch videos such as mine, but great, watch mine. You can watch videos by other people. There is so much out there. Don't just get into the trap of just watching video after video and not actually doing anything. So if you've got a question you want to ask, think with that in mind, search for it, watch a bit of the video and then put it into practice. So the best teacher is you. So you want to think what you want to learn, go watch that video and then have a go at it. You also want to be trying things, like I said, by deconstructing and having a go at things that you already have. You also want to buy books or get books from the library that will teach you what you need to know. Now, you don't want a great big stack of these, but you do want a couple of basic ones. Now, I will recommend one. I didn't have this when I started out. All my learning in the beginning was by trial and error and trying things out. Didn't have the internet then. Didn't really have any sewing books then. I think I bought one sewing magazine when I first started, and it was mainly by taking clothes apart when I was 16. Oops, it's not there, it's over here. So the book that I'm going to recommend, and I've only bought this in the last few years, and I think it's just fabulous for if you're starting out. So I think I have showed it before in a sewing books video. The light's glaring off it a little bit. It's this one. It's the Dressmaking Technique Bible. Now, the reason I'm suggesting this one is because it's spiral bound on the inside like this, so you can lay it out flat on your sewing table. When you find a bit that you're looking for, it's got a really good index. And it's just got instructions on just about anything. So if you were making something you want to just flick through, you can just find it. So this one here, breast pocket. You've got full details and full diagram instructions. So it's really good. So just again, and I will link it in the description, the Dressmaking Technique Bible. So if you haven't got the money to go out and buy one now, try and order these from the library. So do check the online library catalogue, or maybe inquire at your local library if you can't find it on there and ask if they can order you one. Now, that could be something you could put on your wish list for Christmas if you haven't already got it. So one good book with techniques in it. Watch online videos, try things out. Now, the reason I stress this is because I do actually know somebody who doesn't sew very often, and she wanted to learn how to sew, so she went on an expensive sewing course for how to make one dress. It was very expensive. She went on that course over a number of weeks, spent a lot of money on the fabric, spent a lot of money on the course, made the dress, enjoyed the process, but she's never worn that dress since, and she still hasn't done much sewing since then. So it's not about how much you spend, it's not about how much you throw at it. You can learn yourself, but you do need to be trying these things out. Now, tip number 4 is accept your mistakes. Now, that is another obvious one, but of course we have to accept that some things aren't going to go right. And I've been sewing for years now, and still things go wrong occasionally, but they do with everything in life, don't they? So you've got to accept that. Don't just suddenly give up. Don't think, oh, you've wasted your money and throw it in the bin. So what you can do is, if you make a mistake on something, you can decide that it's going to be a design feature. So as long as it's not a big glaring rip straight through it, but even that can be fixed, You could decide that you're going to put pleats in something, you're going to put a bit of detail over it. Maybe you could add some applique, you could add some fancy stitching, you could either add in extra pieces of fabric at certain points. So don't just immediately give up. Set it aside, give yourself some cooling space, and then come back to it later and have a look, think about what details you could add if you've got an obvious mistake on something. Now, even with places like buttonholes and on seams, you can often do something to cover up the mistake. Now, buttonholes, you could put something over the top, like a patch or something, and redo the buttonhole, but do this on every one to make it look like it's supposed to be like that. You could do that in contrasting fabric, or you could do it in the same fabric with decorative stitching around it. On seams, they can usually be reinforced. On the inside, if there's not enough to do the seam as big as you would like, sometimes you can add binding. You can often do this on hems. So if you cut something too short and decide it's too short, you could do an extra strip, which is sort of a deep panel, and that could look like a feature of the hem. So that's something that you could try. All kinds of things. So I will be showing you some of these things in future videos. So I'll have a think of a few common ones that come up, and I'll think about those for in future so that I can show you. But you can have a think yourself, and there's often a way around a mistake. The other thing is, mistakes are just learning. If we're not making mistakes, we're not learning anything. So do please carry on and don't let it put you off. If you feel it's beyond repair, set it aside. You can come back to it at a later date. Maybe you could make it into something else, or you could reuse the fabric. So please don't throw out those big mistakes. Put them away, come back to them later. You can always reuse that fabric. And number 5 is put the hours in. Now please don't run away at this point. This doesn't mean you've got to spend hours and hours and hours before you're going to be any good, although of course it helps. But what it does mean is no amount of expensive machinery and all the latest gadgets and all the latest tools is going to make you into a dressmaker, or is going to create your handmade wardrobe for you. So I did used to know someone who had every machine there was, every machine, every gadget, but I never visited her sewing room, but by the sounds of it, she had the most amazing sewing room, and she never wore handmade clothes. She only used to sew occasionally, but she did like to talk about the equipment that she had. She was a lovely person. She was a lovely lady. I'm not knocking this if you want to buy all the latest equipment and machinery. That's great if you've got the funds for it, but most people haven't. But what I'm saying is, it's not the machines, like with anything, and it's not the tools, and it's not all the equipment that you have that does the work. It's you. So these hours can be built up over time. So when you have a spare few minutes, you could be looking up something that you could get better at. When you have a spare few minutes, you could just be putting a hem on something. I have mentioned this in a previous video. The way to get things done is to maybe lay out a project and just do bits when you have time. But all that time adds up, and you will get there. So make those pieces, deconstruct those clothes, make the things you love, and bit by bit you will have that handmade wardrobe. So I hope you come back again soon. I will put all these videos in a playlist. I'll start this off as the first one, and then gradually I'll add to it, showing you different tips and techniques in future videos. So I hope you come back soon. Please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you thought about this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.